Board. All right, recording started. So what you can see right off the bat is that I made a quick change to the side panel. We're now at a 50-50 split. All right. The work order, so you might notice this is a different name. That's because I split the flow, and I'll explain that as we go on. Basically, right now, though, it is exactly the same as the action, the quick action is going to be, right? So what we're seeing first is all the detail that we always have seen on the left, and all of the items, the duplicate merge, the ghost process, if you have access to it, it's still there, it's just pushed down, and the activity in the chatter is also down, as well as the notes. Everything else is exactly the same. What we're seeing in the flow, before I get to that, let me just pull up for, just for comparison, everybody's favorite, create the work order. Okay, this is what it is today. All right, so just keep this in mind. This is kind of what it is today. This is classic view, and you can see there are a couple of fields. It's just a straight form. It's just straight down, all the way down, and fill out your stuff, right? If you hit cancel, you might notice that it doesn't reload the page, and that's a consequence of classic versus lightning. Okay. So that being said, this is our replacement for that. So the very first thing that we can see is that before we even start the flow, we're looking for open orders. We're looking for open orders. We're looking for open orders at the same location, which is something new, John, that we didn't really discuss last night. And we're also looking for anything that has been closed recently. Currently, for the purposes of this demonstration, the requirement is with closed work completed within the last 14 days. But we can expand that or contract it however we want to. But basically what we're doing is we're saying, okay, the tech was there. It may not be a recallable work order, but it was closed, 7 days ago or 10 days ago, whatever. And maybe it's the same problem description. Maybe there's something else about it. Maybe it's a indicator that it's a problem unit or whatever. Anyway, that's the intent for doing this. If there's already an open work order on this unit, whether it's a PM or another work order, right? Maybe they called it in already. We no longer duplicate. The chance of duplicating orders is gone because we have it in front of us now. Anyway, so we can see that. Actually, my change didn't work, so I'm going to have to launch it through the process. So what we'll see is that, and this is what everybody wanted anyway, is the quick action. So the quick action launches just like the other, the old action launches, except the first thing you come into is this screen. To me, we don't need it in both places. It almost doesn't make sense to click a button and then see the history. I like having the history in the side panel, and I think Madison agreed with that yesterday when you guys all got back to me. She was the only one who liked it in the side panel, and I think it's probably, I would suspect it's probably that kind of reasoning, is that you want that front and center before you have to click anything or do anything. You can see it there. So if we were to keep that on the side panel, we could remove it from this portion of the flow and just start the flow on the next screen. So what the next screen does is it collects information about the repair. It automatically passes the machine information into the component. You can change that, but I wouldn't do that. All right, I would just, for reasons we'll talk about that later, if we decide we want it to be variable. It's going to default to field service and equipment repair. If we don't like that for whatever reason, I can have it default to nothing, just none selected, and then you can set it every single time on your own. And basically, it's a dependent pick list. So just like on the other one, you have to set the order type, and then you have to set the order subtype. You can't set the order subtype until you have set the order type. All right, but you can change it at any time during this process. All of the fields that are required are still going to be required, right? If the customer requires a PO, this will be checked yes. You can't affect that. That's from the customer record. And then if it is yes, then this PO number field will be mandatory, right? That'll free us up from the problems we've been having with like the CBRE or the Minuteman Walmart calls where they're not putting them in with a PO number. That'll cure that, okay? But if it's not required, you can just leave them blank. Once we do that, there's some logic that happens in the background, and based on the equipment type and what will be the repair type, it's going to calculate the NTE for auto scrubbers only, okay? So part of the problem that we were having is that the NTE is not, it's not the same for all equipment. So an auto scrubber NTE on a target sub account is $1,200, and you're not going to put a $1,200 NTE on a propane burnisher or on an upright vacuum or whatever, right? So if it's not an auto scrubber for right now, I'm not saying this is how it's going to be forever, but for right now, the logic says if it's an auto scrubber, look at the sub account and put that NTE. If there's no NTE there on the sub account, look at the account and give me that NTE and put it in there. If it's not an auto scrubber, and also it's going to look at the field service. If it's not field service, then it's going to also leave it blank. And then if it's not an auto scrubber or if it's not a field service, then the dispatcher will be responsible for putting in the NTE at that time, at the time of entry, right? Madison, your team pretty much is clear on what the NTEs are supposed to be? You're muted.
For most locations, yeah, I mean, there might be something that they would need to reach out about, but we can figure that out if we run into it.
Yeah, I would suggest just creating a table that you print out and put in front of everyone's screen, whatever.
Yeah.
Jesse, will it compel the dispatcher to absolutely have to put an NTE in?
No, because it is possible that customers don't have NTEs.
Not
So
that many, but yeah.
I've been putting in accounts for months with no NTE. Only our large customers have them.
Yeah, but if the previous rules, Jesse, if an account did not, if you didn't enter an NTE into an account, I believe it defaulted to 500. Did it not?
I don't think so. I don't know. I can check the rules if we want to do that. I think we took that off because you said everything's getting stuck in audit, right? It's going into system review, and it's not a real number. It's not, the NTE's not, we're not doing anybody any.
That was happening when it was
justice.
null or blank. A repair for $1 was getting caught up, and that's why we said let's just default to $500 if the customer does not give us one.
Maybe.
David, does that make sense?
Whatever, right? Yeah, so we can put whatever we want in here. So for now, if it's an auto scrubber, it's going to be that. If not, it's going to, dispatcher can enter whatever. And the dispatcher or the account manager should know better by account, right? So we'll have them do that. It is possible to leave it blank. If you leave it blank, you're leaving, you leave the door open for the ASP.
Well,
so
not only that, but then that job is definitely going to get caught up in review.
It won't.
Over zero.
I changed that.
Oh,
so
okay.
if it's blank, it doesn't flag it as being over NTE. If it goes over 1,000, it does for high value, but it doesn't for NTE if the NTE is blank. Anyway, equipment type is don't change that. It's pulled in automatically from the installed product, and it controls the symptoms, right? So it's same as it does in the current system. If you change this, you'll have just a different list. All this is going to do is change the list of values that you have to you. When you get to the work order, I forgot what kind of machine this is.
Okay.
All right. So when you get to the work order, if you have leaking oil for an auto scrubber, right? Because it's going to change it back when the work order is created. The rules that apply to the work orders today are still running. So one of the rules that it does is it looks at the installed product and it brings the equipment type over, right? That's automation that was built in a long time ago. Basically, what that's going to do is it's going to set the equipment type to auto scrubber, and if you changed it to leaking oil here, right? Like if it came in as an auto scrubber and you changed it to propane burnisher and you put leaking oil, it's going to error when you go to save it. So long story, just to say, don't change the equipment type. Same rule as is on the other form is on this one. It's still there. It's still visible. It has to be there to control this list, but don't change it. Let it happen however it comes across from the installed equipment, okay? Problem description is required. So you can put text in here however you want, right? You do not need to put customer instructions. You don't need to put IVR instructions, right? All of that comes together separately through other processes, right? And we're not going to show you those today, but we know they're there, right? So we've got the customer IVR process, which handles IVR. We've got separate fields for that push to the assignment email for the vendor. And we also have customer location or customer instructions, work order instructions that can be applied to the account record that pass through to every work order. So, so there's other ways to do that rather than putting in the problem description. And that problem description is used in conjunction with comments on the invoice. So the more we put in there, the more confusing things get at the end. Anyway, so now we're here. If this machine is covered under warranty, there's a warranty statement that shows up at the top. This unit is not under warranty, so it's not showing anything there. The bill to account is here. Oh, sorry, back up a step. So this is potential warranty. If this were true, if this potential warranty were true, then you would have the option to process this call as warranty. It'll default to that, or process it as not warranty, right? That's not this one. It's another checkbox. If you select to not file this as warranty or process this order as warranty, then you'll have to fill out a couple more fields that are not on the original one, right? So the couple more fields will be the warranty claim status will be not warrantable, right? Based on whatever you say. And then you'll have to fill out a description as to why it's not warrantable, okay? So it's very similar to assigning an alternate technician that's not assigned to a GeoZone, right?
Jesse, would it be possible to find a unit that is under warranty to see that?
No, because it's not built out yet. That's something that we talked about last night, and I have the checkbox.
What the hell? You've had 8 hours.
Yeah, I had it. I have it mocked up in the new flow, but it's not this flow. It's not ready to present yet. So
Gotcha.
But it will be before it goes live. I anticipate, just so you guys are aware, unless you give me 1 million changes today, this will be ready to go before Wednesday next week. All right, so that means we'll be live with this new flow probably Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay.
Gobble, gobble.
Yeah. So right before Thanksgiving, it's the best time to do it. If you ask me to, I will stop and we'll launch it on Monday. Not this Monday, the following Monday after the holiday. If you want to, I'm fine with that. Here you can change the bill to account. Nothing special about that, right? You can also change the order status. So I have it pending assignment because in a couple of weeks, we're going to be on Service Cloud, and 90% of our calls come through email anyway, and they're going to be on a case. So we are going to launch from a case triage to a work order pending assignment, right? So work orders will kind of evolve out of triage, The only ones that should still go to triage, I think, are the Pronto orders that come through, right, for MatWorks, because they immediately go to triage pending authorization or something, right? So pretty simple. But if you wanted to change it, you absolutely can. None of these fields are locked down unless they're grayed out like this. So you can't change whether or not this is potentially warranty. If the machine is less than 36 months old, that's going to change. And that process will grow as we develop the warranty process. But for right now, it just says ship date is X and warranty is covered or not covered, right? Or it's still under the warranty or is not under warranty. All right, at this point, it's going to create the work order and it's going to take us to a wrap screen. Okay, the wrap screen, we can do a couple of things. You can load files, you can just drag and drop files. So if they sent us a video of the machine not running or pictures of the serial number or whatever, you can drag and drop it onto this and it'll save on the work order, okay? You can go directly to the work order, and I'm going to apologize just right up front because I can't change the layout of this. There's 3 different functionalities that I used to give us options at the end of this process. So and they all look the way they look. I can't change it. So if you want to just go and inspect the work order before you assign it, you can click the Go to Work Order button. If you're confident that you entered it correct and you're ready to go, you can just click on Yes, I'm ready to assign, and then click Next. If this is no and you don't click Go to Work Order and you click Next, it's just going to reload. It may not reload. It's just going to finish and leave you on the installed equipment screen. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So,
Are you going to have to start all over again?
no.
Okay.
So it
No,
created the work order.
at this point, the work order is created and live,
Okay.
right? So if I was to close this right now and refresh the page, we would see a new work order over here on open work orders, right? And I'll do it that way. If you click on Go to Work Order, it's just going to go directly to the work order that it just created and open it up right there for you, right? If you click on Upload Files, I'll just show you here real quick. Of course, I went to the wrong thing. There you go, my favorite. Right? It loads up and it says done, and you hit done, and it doesn't show you anything, but that image is there on the work order. And let's go to the work order. I'll show you. Okay? Or do you want? Here, I'll show you the assign first, and we'll get there. All right. So if you click yes, what it's going to do is it's going to finish that process, and it's going to take you right into the assignment flow, which is exactly the same as you have now. This is going to change. I'm just going to give you a forward-looking statement. This is going to change because based on your selection on one of the previous screens, which is it warranty and do you want to process it as warranty? If you want to process it as warranty, it's not going to give you the GeoZone and the technicians first. It's going to give you who's the warranty provider. Do we have other warranty information? What's the parts, labor, and travel, right? It's going to give you warranty information that you can use to make a decision on who you're going to actually assign this to, right? And then if you give it to a warranty provider who is not the primary, secondary, and tertiary, you're not going to have to go through the process of saying, I'm assigning an alternate tech because of whatever. I'm going to handle that in the background for you, okay?
So it's
So you
not, primary tech won't be the warranty.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily, right? Of course, you're not going to send it to a warranty vendor who's 4 hours away. If there's another tech, right down the street, I don't think that's the decision you need to make, right? So if we don't have a warranty vendor within an hour of the site, you're not gonna choose somebody who's more than double away because warranty's not going to cover it.
Right.
The customer's not going to pay for it, right? Unless they told you to use that guy, right? Whatever. So anyway, that's up to you. There's decisions to happen there. And then you're just going to make the decision on who to give it to. If it's not the primary, you're gonna, you know, give it a reason. And that's it. So now it's just done. It just goes away. And that's one of the detractors of using the quick action is it doesn't reload the page. So in order to see your changes, you have to hit refresh. So the good thing about doing that is that I don't really know why you would want to do that. I would probably always go to work order, right? But anyway, there it is. It's assigned, right? And you can click right from there and go right to the work order. The work order here, you can see our image is loaded. It's taking a minute.
Now, will there be a change where the tech can see these files now, or do we still have to send those manually?
Forward-looking statement, yes. You still have to send them manually for now. But the good news is if you attach them to the record, they're there to select. You don't have to then, you know, go through another step to do it, right? You can do it's up to you for right now. Eventually, they will have access to files as soon as we can lock them down. All right. But everything's here. It's assigned. You don't have to do another thing. It's all in that same flow, right? The email will never automatically contain your attachments. Okay, just so that's out there and clear. I can't do that. But they will have access to certain files eventually, someday, you know, probably pretty soon. Okay. Really, that's kind of the end of it. Let's just spend the next, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes talking about what you like and what you hate about it. If you want to see another section of it, just let me know and we'll walk into it.
So did you take away anything on this top right, the menu for update work order if we need to alter anything?
No.
Okay.
Everything's exactly the same here.
Okay.
So update installed equipment is going to be the next one to kind of get revamped or whatever. And quite frankly, I don't really see the need for it anymore. Or on the work order, right? So on these, how can I say it without? So you see how mine has pencil on every field? Yours needs to have a pencil on every field. So if you need to change something, you can just hit that pencil and change something, right? It goes into edit mode, and then you can just change whatever you want and hit save, and you're done. No buttons, no fuss, no muss, no whatever, right? The reason why those buttons are there is because originally there's no way to control what you guys can change and not change, and there weren't so many options to show different fields to different people. So the dispatcher has the same view as the CEO, you know, or right, whatever. So John may be able to change everything on here to whatever he wants it to be, but we don't necessarily want Liz doing the same thing, right? We only want Liz to be able to update, you know, ETA date or whatever, right? I can lock that down now based on different criteria, which we couldn't do before. So that's the whole reason why we had that form. It was just certain fields that needed to be updated or inserted, whatever, right? So now we can kind of work into it and give different views and things. So the buttons are kind of, some of the buttons will continue to be there. So like create the work order will always be a new button, will always be an action, or like this panel on the side. And quite frankly, there's nothing saying that that we can't do that. That same flow that we just did, there's nothing saying that we can't do that right here in the side panel, right? And I can do that differently for different people too, right? So I could have it different. kind of repeating myself now. So what else? What do we like and hate about the history?
I mean, I like the history personally. I think it's nice to have right there. Like I said, it helps. It'll help the dispatchers too. You know, sometimes we get in hot water. We dispatch a repair. You know, said like you said, it was completed a week ago, and then we dispatched it again. Instead of us kind of being proactive about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with the customer. You know, like I said, sometimes it's hard to see the last repair. I think now it'll help us do that. You know,
Oh,
we can-
absolutely.
or we
This
can-
doesn't show that though, right? Does it? Does it show? This shows open tickets.
So it shows open here. It shows open at the same location for other equipment, just in case you got somebody going there or whatever. And this shows anything completed within the last 14
Gotcha.
days.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So you could treat the current one with a little more hands-on, a little more white glove, because you know something happened 7 days ago. You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
treat that one differently.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the top and the bottom. So just to be clear, if there are no orders, this is just going to be blank. It's not going to show anything, right? If there are no orders, period, it'll say there have been no work orders or there are no recent work orders on this unit, right? If there are no completed work orders, then it'll say that recently completed work orders. It'll be blank. And if there are no other open at the same location, that'll be blank as well, right? This is about this serial number, this first block, open work orders, and it says open work orders exist on this unit already. So read the red at the top, and that's exactly what it's describing the list below it, okay? So if the list says, if this is at the top, you know there's nothing open on this unit. It's only other machines at that location. And these were completed about this unit. I did not put in something that says, oh, we were just at the store 5 days ago for a different thing, right? Although some people would yell at us, hey, you were just there for this thing. How come you didn't fix this? Well, because we didn't have a work order for that, right? But do you find value in seeing that list, or is it good kind of the way it is? So specific to this serial number, not specific to this serial number, so other serial numbers, or
Open. Yeah.
and also this serial number, right?
Got it.
I think that gives you a great perspective. You know, like David said, you know, that way, you know, a week from, you know, the time it was called in, you're not getting a hot order from, you know, Jim Francis. You were just there, you know.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know, it was just called in. You know, it might not be a recall, but it you know, they're going to claim it to be a recall, right?
Right.
Yeah, but you'll go into it knowing you'll be able to see it right there. You'll be able to click right into it and say, wait a minute, that sounds like the same thing they just said. So if they say it's leaking water now, if they say, oh, it's leaking water, and then you click into it and it said leaving water behind, you know it's the same thing, right? And
Right.
you can go
Or
back
you
and
know, or could prompt a call to the tech saying, hey man, you were just out here,
Yeah.
you know, 4 days ago. What's
Mhm.
going on?
Yep. Yep. And if it is 4 days, right? If you do have something in here that's 4 days old, you can still recall that. So you don't have to create
Right.
you don't have to create that. That recall process is still there.
Right.
So
When do you think you're going to add that warranty flow or portion of the flow?
probably early next week.
Okay, good. And the idea is just while we're all on the phone, I mean, we're trying to get away from us filing the warranty, because 9 times out of 10, even if they give or give us credit for warranty, it's typically not, it's not even our cost, right? Because those guys are used to just paying dealer prices, which is not, we pay more than that to the dealers, right? So
Mhm.
we're upside down in a lot of scenarios. So we're going to kind of revert back to, you know, trying to manage the warranty networks for each OEM and having them in the system. And then on the front end, if a unit's under warranty and we believe the job to be potentially warranty by looking at what's wrong with it, we would then make that decision to dispatch that network versus our primary.
Yes, exactly. So the other thing that I didn't show you, sorry, John, I just thought of it while you were talking because warranty kind of kicked it off, is that the other consideration is TCO or TAP or rental, right? If it's a TSS rental or if it's the TAP or TCO. So the program does show up in the highlights, right? So it's going to show us whether it's TCO, whether it's whatever. And no, that's new, John. I just changed it. It used to just be the TCO checkbox. Now it's the program field, so you'll be able to tell, is it TCO, is it TAP, is it whatever, right? Additionally, all of those programs, if any of those programs exist, this message is going to show up. So this one doesn't have anything open for this unit, so that message is gone. You can see that there's nothing open and there was nothing completed within 14 days. The only thing we see is that at the same location, there's other work orders open for other equipment, okay? Which tells you a lot as a dispatcher, right? So you can call up Professional Polish and say, yo, you got 3 other work orders at this location. While you're there, I'm going to give you another work order. Can you take care of this, right? And then you kind of save yourself a trip, right? That also helps billing. If the work complete date is on the same date, then they don't allow multiple travel charges. But addition to that, if it's TCO or if it's TAP, you know you're not going to give it to tenant, right? You give it to Nilfisk or whatever. So all these are designed to help you guys as the dispatch team to get it to the right person, just like John said, right?
Help you with that decision making on the front end.
Yeah, exactly.
Give you all the information to make the right decision.
Right. So all that being said, let's talk about what I started the meeting with, which is I think I'm going to split this into 2 flows. I think the work order history flow goes right on the page, right where it's at. Do you guys like that? Does everybody like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Madison, you like it there? Yeah, I know you like it. You want the whole flow there. And I'm not saying you can't have it. I'm just saying for now, a good idea is to kind of have this here. So the other thing is when we launch the button, how do you feel about the layout of the buttons here on the side? Do we want them reordered? How do you think, are you used to them being where they're at, right? Create work order will go away and work order builder will be probably take its spot unless you want to do something different.
I think that's a good idea. Just work order builder, take its place.
Okay. And it's possible that you guys don't have all of these buttons. So we'll just kind of
clone it.
You can't clone it.
What does that
You
mean?
you don't have a clone button.
Okay.
It means it'll make an exact duplicate. But it doesn't map, it's not mapped out, so not all fields will cross between the two. So
I'm just not excited to see the clone button.
it's to build my army.
Yeah.
All right, so there's that, and then how did you feel about the layout of the new flow? Is it too much clicking? Is it well, kind of, does it flow well, or?
That was the only concern that I had, is it's a lot of like next instead of like just scrolling and just keep on going down. But I mean, if you made it seem like that you couldn't really change, like that was the layout that was available. And
I can
okay.
put every single thing on one form, and you'll just scroll down and fill out the form just like you did on the other one. But the other one and the shortcomings for the other one are the same reason why I don't want to do that here, is because in between those clicks, when you click next, it goes to another screen and you fill things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in between those screens, and I'm not going to show you because you guys would just be like, whatever, Jesse, you're a loser, right? But in between those clicks, so when you click next here, there's 3 other functions happening in between, right? So we're calculating NTE. We're looking up customer IVRs. We're we're getting machine information and account information and location information, right? And we're putting all that stuff together so that we can automate enough of this process and put things, you know, in a logical order, right? So in other words, this customer requires a PO. I couldn't have this if we didn't do an action before we got to this screen.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? And for the next screen, oops. So for the next screen, so you see that one, the PO is required. So I had to put something in there. All right. So now we've got a $1,650 NTE. I couldn't have gotten that if I didn't jump from screen to screen, right? So the idea is if we don't put in the machine and do these things first, then I don't have the information to do these other calculations, right? I don't have the equipment type. I don't have the, you know, the symptom list or whatever, right? So that it's very minimal. I tried to keep it to like 3 or 4 things per screen, just to kind of make it easier to kind of flow. But what do you think? I mean, just understanding that. Let's go back to your point. Is so it's I think 3 screens. 4 screens. All right, so it's first screen. So that first screen with the history is going to be gone. So that's -1. So it'll start with the repair type and the PO number and requester. And then it'll come to potential warranty. See how this is, this says the machine is 0.7 months old, still within the warranty period. You probably definitely want to file this as warranty. So here's that checkbox. So this is more functionality that kind of happens after the flow. But I need the information before we get here to be able to do it, right? Is it an emergency? That could probably be on the first screen. The bill to account, that's going to need to be changed if it's a Walmart, Minuteman or whatever, right? And that's going to control which IVR is used. Now it's creating the work order. And this screen is just kind of a wrap screen, right? So after this, you have options of what you can or can't or don't want to do. If you just hit next right now, it's done and it dumps you out of the process. So it's 1, 2, 3 out, right? If you're ready to assign it, you get that 4th and 5th screen, right?
Because now it's just in pending assignment and you can just move
Yeah.
on to the next thing. Okay.
Yeah. So if you think about this, when we're in here, like today, this is exactly how we do it. We go to the installed equipment, we click on this, and we do a new record or whatever. It is possible for me to take that flow, and I don't have it built out now. I'm sorry. I can do it for a demo next week if you want to. That would give us the exact same data in a blank form. It's just pull up this form and just start filling it out from the serial number down through everything else, right? And then we could pull up the history after we enter the serial number, right? I can kind of do that. So it's possible to start from scratch, but what I like about this is that we start from a familiar point, right? In Service Cloud, when we start working in Service Cloud, we're not going to start from the installed product. We're going to start with a case, and we're going to add an installed product to the case, and then we're going to create the work order from there. But that's just going to be a button, and most of that information that we're filling out now, that we have to fill out in this form, we're going to try and collect that in the case, right? As we're working that case, and then just hit generate work order and have it go. It's just going to, you know what I mean? So it's going to go through this whole flow and be able to generate that work order for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you're talking about like if it comes in the app form for the request, because if it's like free form, in an email, right? Or like in an email, like whenever a case is technically the email, right? Then
Yeah.
it would be in that template from the app template, right? For you to,
So no, so the app template is going to come across as an email, right? And that's whatever's in the app is going to go into the body of the case, right? So we're still going to, for the time being, we're still going to have to kind of fill that stuff out. But on the case, we'll be able to link to a location. We'll be able to link to the installed equipment, right? Because hopefully they're giving us a serial number, whatever. We can attach documents to cases if we want to do it that way. If we're in triage or waiting for dispatch approval or whatever, it just sits on the case until we get that approval, right? And then we just hit generate that work order. So with that being said, while we're working through the case, we can collect most of the same information that we just did on the work order entry flow, right? So we can already know that it's covered under warranty and make the decision based on the complaint whether or not we want to process it as warranty, right? So that checkbox could go in pre-filled. You see how that works? So so that being said, we're really just moving the cheese, right? I'm not offering you any like really great automation right now, but it's not going to be, it's just going to be able to like pick up the email and just start clicking buttons to fill out your process, right? And then when you're ready, you just click the button and you answer the couple of questions that still need to be answered, and then you finish. I think when you start seeing it in the full use flow, you'll understand it a little bit better. The issue is to get away from the familiar, because it's old tech and we can't build off of it. We can't build around it. It's just a dumb form and there's nothing that we can do with it.
yeah, I think once I see the cases come through like those, that's gonna connect the dots there. But I mean, I get what you're saying earlier for the most part.
Yeah.
But
So on the console, when you see the console for the first time, you're probably going to not be very impressed. You're going to say, but as we build it out, right? We're going to build it out with yours and David's input to say, I want to see this while I'm looking at the case, or I want to see that. And with the console, we're able to put multiple things in that console. So just like we have on the installed equipment, this panel on the side, we can have this panel on the side in the what do you call it? In the console for the case. So that information might be there up in your face already, right? As far as this might be easier to fill out as a form is concerned, but there's nothing happening here. There's no magic, there's no meat. It's just a form. So this kind of gets us away from that, and this gives us a process where it can not only allows us to enter a work order, it gives us helper logic to help us process the work more efficiently, I think. And if it doesn't, we can reorganize it. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, I like it. I think that it's going to work out well. I was just concerned with all the clicks for the thing, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Like,
yeah, and let's see if we can reduce any. Okay, so it's nothing is really set in stone the way it is. Maybe we can make it 2 screens or whatever instead. We definitely need the transition once we collect the serial number, right? Once we collect and finalize that serial number, then we got to collect that information, and that happens in between screens. So it's going to be at least 2, right? And then we can kind of move on from there.
very cool.
All right, cool, right? So that's that.